The Silk Road was a hub for espionage. The Silk Road, known for its riches, exotic goods, and cultural exchange, was more than just a trade route. It was a web of secrets, deception, and silent wars fought in the shadows. Beneath the grandeur of silk, spices, and gold, a darker force thrived: espionage. From the Han Dynasty to the height of the Mongol Empire, spies walked among merchants, monks, and envoys, disguising themselves as traders and scholars. They carried messages hidden in scrolls, maps sewn into robes, and coded symbols etched into pottery. Every stop along the Silk Road, Samarkand, Bactria, Constantinople, was a battleground of information. Empires rose and fell, not by the sword alone, but by whispers in the dark. Chinese agents infiltrated Persian courts. Byzantine spies bribed caravan leaders for military intelligence. The Mongols, masters of psychological warfare, sent disguised scouts to spread rumors before their invasions. Even the feared Hashishins, the legendary assassins of Persia, used the Silk Road to manipulate rulers from the shadows. The cost of betrayal? Death by poison, by the dagger, or by vanishing into the endless desert. Entire cities were razed, their leaders executed, all because of a single intercepted letter. The trade of information was more valuable than silk and far deadlier. But espionage on the Silk Road didn't just shape the ancient world. It echoes into today. Modern intelligence networks still rely on the same tactics: misinformation, coded messages, infiltration. The Silk Road was the first battlefield of spies, a proving ground for deception that shaped the course of history. And though the caravans are gone, the silent war of secrets never truly ended. The smuggling of forbidden goods. The Silk Road, an ancient artery of trade that connected civilizations, empires, and cultures. But beneath the surface of prosperity lay a hidden world, a shadow economy that thrived in the dark: the smuggling of forbidden goods. From the bustling markets of Samarkand to the heavily guarded gates of Chang'an, merchants and smugglers alike defied laws and rulers, moving illicit treasures across vast deserts and treacherous mountain passes. Silk and spices may have defined the Silk Road, but hidden within their folds were items deemed too dangerous, too sacred, or too powerful to be traded openly. Ancient Chinese dynasties fiercely guarded the secret of silk production, making it illegal to export silk moth eggs or weaving techniques. Yet, greed and espionage knew no borders. Agents disguised as monks carried these secrets westward, forever altering the course of history. Opium, banned in several regions, still flowed through secret routes, enriching crime syndicates and corrupt officials. Even human remains, bones of saints, relics of forgotten kings, became high-stakes contraband, smuggled under cover of darkness for their mystical power. This underground trade wasn't just about profit, it was about power. Kings and warlords used smuggled weapons to shift the balance of empires. Rare books, forbidden texts, and even lost maps changed hands in secret, shaping the future of nations. And where there was smuggling, there was risk: bandits, executioners, and the ever-watchful eyes of imperial spies. But the echoes of this secret trade still exist today. Black markets thrive, trafficking in stolen artifacts, restricted technology, and illegal goods worth billions. The shadows of the Silk Road remain, whispering of a past where wealth and danger walked hand in hand, and where the true cost of forbidden knowledge was often paid in blood. Bandits, assassins, and rogue warriors. The Silk Road, a vast network of trade and power, connecting civilizations from the east to the west. But beneath its thriving markets and flowing riches lurked a hidden world of terror, ruled by bandits, assassins, and rogue warriors. In the dead of night, caravans laden with silk, spices, and gold would disappear into the shadows, never to be seen again. Ruthless bandit clans patrolled the desolate trade routes, preying on merchants and travelers, turning the Silk Road into a battleground of survival. Secret brotherhoods of assassins, trained in the art of silent death, operated in the shadows, hired by warlords and rulers to eliminate their enemies. The feared Persian Hashishins, masters of deception and sabotage, waged a silent war against powerful empires. In China, rogue mercenary groups offered their swords to the highest bidder, shifting the balance of power with every deadly contract. Beyond mere violence, these outlaws shaped history. The constant attacks forced kingdoms to build massive fortifications, develop spy networks, and impose heavy taxes on traders for protection. Some rogue warriors even became legends. Mercenaries turned kings, criminals turned rulers. But justice was rare, and the Silk Road remained a dangerous chessboard of power. Travelers whispered of cursed valleys where entire caravans vanished, and ghostly figures haunted the trails, a reminder of the thousands who perished at the hands of unseen killers. And while the Silk Road has faded into history, its dark legacy lingers. Today, organized crime, mercenary warfare, and intelligence networks still operate in the shadows, much like their ancient counterparts. The methods may have changed, but the game remains the same. This is the untold story of bandits, assassins, and rogue warriors, the unseen forces that shaped the Silk Road and the world we live in today. The ancient prostitution rings along trade routes. Beneath the grandeur of the Silk Road, where merchants traded silk, spices, and gold, there existed a hidden network far darker, one that thrived in the shadows of the ancient world. In the bustling caravanserais and secret chambers of great cities like Samarkand, Chang'an, and Baghdad, a silent trade flourished, one built not on goods but on human lives. Young girls and women, often kidnapped or sold into bondage, were transported across empires, their innocence exchanged for power and wealth. Some were concubines in royal courts, others were mere commodities in hidden brothels controlled by ruthless guilds and warlords. For some, service in the pleasure houses was forced, while others became spies, their whispered secrets shaping the course of empires. The demand was insatiable. Kings, warriors, and wealthy merchants indulged in this hidden market, fueling an underground economy where human dignity had a price. The trade's influence reached deep. Governments turned a blind eye, secret societies protected it, and entire cities prospered from its silent earnings. But behind the veil of silk and desire lay horror. Disease, violence, and despair haunted the victims. Many never escaped, their existence erased from history. Yet, some cultures fought back. Buddhist monks, Christian missionaries, and early Islamic scholars condemned this practice, calling it a corruption of the soul. And though the Silk Road has faded into history, the echoes of its darkest trade remain. Today, human trafficking still plagues the modern world, a grim reminder that the sins of the past continue to shape the present. The secret code language of Silk Road merchants. The Silk Road, a vast and treacherous web of ancient trade routes, connecting empires, cultures, and wealth beyond imagination. But beneath the shimmering fabrics and golden treasures, merchants spoke in whispers, using a secret language that outsiders could never understand. This was no ordinary dialect. It was a coded system of symbols, gestures, and hidden phrases, designed to protect fortunes, conceal forbidden deals, and outwit spies lurking in the shadows. Developed over centuries, it allowed traders to navigate the ever-shifting tides of power, taxation, and betrayal. From the bazaars of Samarkand to the imperial courts of China, merchants left cryptic markings on caravanserai walls, inscribed secret messages on fabrics, and even wove hidden symbols into the silk itself. A simple fold in a cloth could signal an alliance. A certain way of stacking goods could mean danger ahead. For those who cracked the code, immense wealth awaited. But for those who misread the signs, it could mean imprisonment, ruin, or worse, death. Governments sought to control trade, but this hidden language allowed merchants to move black market goods, spices, gold, and even stolen secrets, right under their noses. Even today, echoes of these cryptic codes exist in modern trade and espionage. The unseen language of commerce, a secret still whispered in the shadows of history. The blood sacrifices for safe passage. Along the vast, treacherous routes of the ancient Silk Road, where merchants risked their fortunes and lives, an unsettling truth remained hidden in the shadows: the blood sacrifices for safe passage. Centuries ago, beyond the bustling markets and grand cities, the road was a dangerous expanse ruled by unseen forces, both human and supernatural. Warlords, secret societies, and mystical guardians demanded a price not in gold or silk, but in blood. Travelers whispered of hidden shrines deep in the mountains where offerings, sometimes livestock, sometimes human lives, were made to appease unseen entities or ruthless bandits who controlled the trade routes. The belief was simple: without sacrifice, disaster was certain, curses, ambushes, or the wrath of ancient spirits. Historians suggest that powerful rulers and merchant guilds turned a blind eye, knowing that these sacrifices secured the wealth flowing between East and West. The blood spilled in secret was a silent currency, ensuring safe passage through lands haunted by raiders, spirits, and superstition. But for the victims, slaves, prisoners, and even kidnapped travelers, this was a grim fate swallowed by the sands of history. Some say the very ground along these routes is stained with their suffering, their forgotten screams lost in the howling winds. Even today, echoes of these rituals remain. In modern black markets, trafficked lives are still used as currency. Corrupt officials, hidden cults, and secret organizations still trade blood for power, just as they did centuries ago. The Silk Road was not just a highway of trade, it was a river of sacrifice, where life and death were woven into the fabric of commerce. And in the darkness of history, some secrets refused to be buried. The lost cities and vanished civilizations. The Silk Road, a vast web of trade routes connecting east and west, a bridge between empires, cultures, and civilizations. But beneath the surface of prosperity lay a mystery, the lost cities and vanished civilizations. Scattered across the ancient trade routes were cities of unimaginable wealth, flourishing hubs of commerce, power, and innovation. Places like Naya, Lulon, and Merv, once alive with merchants, scholars, and travelers. Yet they disappeared, swallowed by time, erased from history. Why did these thriving cities fall into ruin? Some crumbled under the weight of war and conquest, their streets drenched in blood as empires clashed for control. Others were doomed by nature. Rivers dried up, shifting sands buried entire metropolises, and plagues turned vibrant markets into silent graveyards. But there are whispers of darker forces. Secret societies and powerful rulers may have orchestrated their downfall, eliminating rivals and erasing their existence from records. Were they victims of economic warfare? Did the greed of merchants and corrupt officials lead to their destruction? Some speak of forbidden knowledge buried beneath these ruins, guarded by curses and ancient warnings. The impact was devastating. As these cities vanished, trade routes collapsed, entire cultures were lost, and the balance of power shifted. Today, archaeologists uncover traces, inscriptions, artifacts, shattered temples, clues to civilizations that once shaped the world. Yet, some cities remain undiscovered, their secrets hidden beneath the sands, waiting to be unearthed. And as modern megacities rise and fall, are we repeating the mistakes of the past? Will today's great metropolises suffer the same fate as the lost cities of the Silk Road? Perhaps in their silence they hold a warning, a lesson from history we dare not ignore. The hidden drug trade of the ancient Silk Road. It was a network of prosperity connecting civilizations, but beneath the glimmer of silk and spices, a darker trade thrived, one built on addiction, secrecy, and power. From the opium fields of Central Asia to the apothecaries of Persia and China, illicit substances moved in the shadows. Powerful merchants, secret societies, and warlords manipulated this trade, using it as currency, a weapon of control, and a means to destabilize rival states. Entire communities were enslaved, not by chains but by dependence. In hidden markets, substances like opium and psychoactive herbs were exchanged for gold, intelligence, and even human lives. The drug trade fueled corruption, wars, and political intrigue. Rulers taxed it in secret while publicly condemning it. Smugglers risked execution, yet demand only grew. Some believed these substances granted divine insight, while others saw them as tools of destruction. The whispers of addiction reached imperial courts, shaping laws and military campaigns. Yet the cycle never ended. Today, echoes of this hidden trade persist. Modern black markets, cartels, and global conflicts still mirror the past. The Silk Road may have faded, but its dark legacy endures, woven into the fabric of history. The secret trade of ancient weapons. Hidden within the bustling markets and caravans of the Silk Road was a trade far deadlier than silk, spices, or gold. An underground network that fueled wars, toppled kingdoms, and reshaped the ancient world. The secret trade of ancient weapons. In the shadows of great empires, beyond the watchful eyes of kings and scholars, warlords, assassins, and rogue merchants trafficked weapons forbidden by law. Steel forged in secrecy, poison daggers crafted for silent kills, and advanced siege machines smuggled across borders. All exchanged in whispered deals that determine the fate of nations. From the deadly crossbows of China, outlawed to prevent rebellion, to Persian scimitars sharpened for hidden battles, this secret trade thrived on blood and betrayal. Rulers sought power, rebels sought vengeance, and those caught in between, merchants, slaves, entire villages, became casualties of an unseen war. As empires rose and fell, the trade continued, shaping conflicts, igniting revolts, and strengthening the hands of those who could pay the price. Some believed these weapons carried curses, forged in deceit and destined to bring ruin. Others knew they were simply the tools of power, silent, efficient, and deadly. And though the Silk Road has long since faded into history, its darkest trade has never truly disappeared. In modern black markets, in covert arms deals fueling global conflicts, the echoes of this ancient secret still remain. Hidden, dangerous, and waiting in the hands of those who seek control through chaos. The dark side of religious expansion. The dark side of religious expansion. A tale hidden in the shadows of the Silk Road, a path not only of commerce but of conquest, coercion, and control. For centuries, the great empires sent their missionaries, monks and mystics along these ancient trade routes, not only to spread faith but to claim power. With every prayer there was a hidden agenda. With every sacred text an empire's influence stretched further. The merchants carried silk, spices and gold, but also doctrines, ideologies and the subtle force of conversion. Some came willingly. Others had no choice. In the name of salvation, entire cultures were erased. Temples burned. Ancient traditions outlawed. Some rulers embraced new faiths to secure alliances, while others resisted, only to watch their kingdoms crumble under religious warfare, forced assimilation, and espionage disguised as spiritual enlightenment. This was not just a trade route, it was a battlefield of belief. The rise of Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity along the Silk Road was not always peaceful. Secret societies and political factions used faith as a tool for control, manipulating followers, silencing dissent, and orchestrating massacres in the name of the divine. But the effects did not end in the past. Today we see the echoes, governments using religion as a weapon, cultures struggling to reclaim lost heritage, and conflicts rooted in ancient ideological battles that began centuries ago. History remembers the spread of faith, but it often forgets the cost. The dark side of religious expansion remains one of the Silk Road's most chilling secrets. The dark magic and curses used by traders. For centuries, the Silk Road was more than just a highway of trade. It was a passage of power, deception, and the unseen forces that shaped history. Among its merchants and warlords, there existed those who dealt not just in silk and spices, but in something far more sinister, dark magic and deadly curses. Hidden within the whispers of caravanserais and the dimly lit chambers of ancient markets, traders who sought an edge over their rivals turned to the supernatural. Amulets inscribed with forbidden symbols, cursed relics buried beneath a competitor's stall. These were not mere legends, but deeply held beliefs among those who risked their lives along this treacherous road. From China to Persia, merchants who dared to cheat, deceive, or steal found themselves victims of unexplained misfortunes, mysterious illnesses, sudden financial ruin, entire caravans lost without a trace. Was it simply coincidence, or had they been marked by forces beyond their understanding? Some sought the guidance of mystics, shadowy figures who promised protection through blood rituals and sacred incantations. Others paid assassins trained in the art of spiritual warfare, men who knew how to strike with a curse more potent than any blade. But this power came at a cost. Those who wielded it risked invoking something beyond their control. Ancient texts warned of traders who grew too greedy, who became consumed by the very darkness they unleashed. Some vanished overnight, their names erased from history. Others, it is said, were cursed to wander the desert, lost in a land where no road could lead them home. Today the world has changed, yet the echoes of these ancient secrets remain. In corporate battles, in the ruthless world of high-stakes trade, and in the whispers of those who believe in energies unseen, has the magic of the Silk Road truly faded, or has it simply taken a different form? Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more videos.